Thank you, everybody. Welcome to the June meeting for the Manhattan Tripway CB1 Transportation Street Activity Permit Committee. We finally have quorum. Thank you. I'm Eddie Kay, the chair. Jess won't be here today. She has that Palmer, the district manager. And I'd like to, we have a short agenda tonight. We're going to mix it up a little bit for our quorum person finally walked in, but we don't have the slides up.
Slide is freezing. Let me try.
We'll get technology in order. We're going to flip the two items, we'll let the DOT go first. Let's make sure you have slides used. Go to the next one.
Okay.
Yeah, the next slide, please. Oh, so yeah, it's a short agenda. We're going to do item number 2 first. One more slide. Yes, the business of, oh, sorry, go on to the, we have to switch all to the slides. Do I get the second item? Yeah. Patients for e-bikes, battery swap-in cabinets. For the next one, you can have our guests. We have Elaine and Patrick from the DOT. If you'd like to introduce yourself and start the presentation. Welcome you.
Yes, hi there. Can everyone see and hear me?
Yes.
Great. Well, very happy to be here, and I'm also with my colleague Patrick. You want to intro? Don't know if he can get off audio, but I will get started, I think, with the presentation and let him jump in after. Yeah, my name is Elaine. I am the program manager for e-bike charging at DOT, and really excited to tell you guys all about this program, talk a little bit about our proposed sites, and also just get your feedback and your suggestions. Next slide. Right, so first I want to just start off with some context that you all already know of, I'm sure, and this is the issue with e-bike lithium-ion batteries in New York City. You know, throughout the years, there's been over 900 fires, and one thing that we've learned through talking with the fire department this whole time is that really there are two main reasons for these battery fires. The first is uncertified batteries and low quality batteries, and the other is improper charging practices. Next slide. So what has DOT already done about this? In 2024, we had a pilot program and tested different e-bike charging technology. And what kind of came out on top is this battery swapping cabinet technology that we asked over 100 delivery workers to kind of use and test out, see how they liked it. And, you know, delivery workers, because they are the primary audience for e-bikes right now in New York City. And what we found out is that, you know, delivery workers actually thought that it was very easy to use this technology. You kind of like scan a QR code, and I have a slide in here that can show you more images on that. But also, many of them stated that they would completely eliminate their need to charge indoors because they could rely on this service. And lastly here, you know, workers shared that they also would be willing to pay for a service like this if, of course, it was placed in these key areas and if it reduced their battery-related expenses. Next slide. So, of course, we didn't just talk to delivery workers about the technology itself, but just wanted to know, you know, how they run. And, you know, one thing that we've heard is that many delivery workers keep spare batteries on them. And these are, you know, heavier and bulkier things than our typical iPhone battery, right? They usually keep it on their back rack of their bike. And they need that because they usually switch from during lunch to dinner rush. Delivery workers are also just, you know, they care about their families and their own well-being and want to look for these alternative, safer solutions as well. And lastly, they're being met with, you know, their landlords just telling them no more charging. And what do they do kind of about that? Next slide. So what is this program that we are bringing to you today? And we received $3 million from NYSERDA in grant funding to place these battery swapping technology cabinets at 25 locations, approximately 25 locations within New York City. The bulk of this funding is really going to building out electrical connection to be able to charge these batteries. And as you can see from this image on the right side, this is the main project area. We have this area laid out for a couple different reasons, but two main ones, which is this is where the bulk of where deliveries are being made in the city, at least the highest concentration of them, and also kind of the highest concentration of e-bike usage. As you go into the outer boroughs, more delivery workers are using either mopeds or just cars to make those deliveries. Next slide. And kind of to show you some of the data that we use. This is from the Department of Consumer and Worker Protection, and this is data from that is granular data on where deliveries are actually taking place. And this area, of course, is part of that. Next slide. So, yeah, we understand that one program can't solve everything, and we want to make sure DOT wants to make sure that we tackle e-bike safety from many different lenses. First on just education, we recently launched a delivery worker education course that we announced a couple, I think, weeks or months ago, and that helps workers kind of get educated on safe riding practices and also fire safety, like how to charge safely. And of course, we want to make sure we build out, excuse me, critical bike lane infrastructure. And of course, at the core of this, we recognize that delivery app companies hold, excuse me, delivery app companies are also kind of incentivizing these workers to drive as fast as possible, right? So right now, DOT is working with City Council to hold these apps accountable, as well as trying to get more information from them and data as well. Next slide. Right. So, what exactly does this type of technology look like? These images are from the pilot program. And what it's showing here is kind of this box that has batteries contained in them. And what users can do is they can scan a QR code, place a depleted battery in there, and then what pops out is a fully charged battery. This transaction takes less than 60 seconds and they can move on with their day. So delivery workers are not necessarily like staying here to charge their battery. They are just grabbing and going. Next slide. So a few more features that come with these cabinets is that they're, of course, weather and theft proof, but more importantly, they are these will be certified to the highest nationally recognized standard, that is the UL standard, that includes safety features like battery fire containment. In case there is a fire in one of the batteries, this containment, which is the cabinet itself, should be able to enclose that fire and make sure that it does not spread. In addition, we also want to be proactive. So these batteries will all have battery health monitoring. When they are scanned through the system, we can see if we need to actually check up on a battery. If it's been tampered or something's wrong with it, we can take it out of circulation and put a healthy battery back into circulation to help prevent fires as well. And kind of last point I want to make here is that this program is really designed to be self-sustaining in a financial standpoint. DOT is helping out build that, electrical infrastructure to the grid, but the vendor that will be selected through an RFP process will have a membership fee. Users will pay that fee, and that will help offset the operating and maintenance costs. Next slide. So how did we go about just trying to identify potential sites? We wanted to definitely prioritize things near bike lanes and on major streets with wider sidewalks, but of course keep clear of things like fire hydrants, bus stops, things like that. Most importantly, though, or one of the most important things is, we want to maintain high pedestrian flow, right? We do not want to take from that space. So we were guided by our pedestrian mobility plan and choosing wider sidewalks to ensure we don't create, any blocks. Next slide. So a couple of considerations up front that many of these I've already mentioned, but on congregation, I mentioned that this technology really takes less than 60 seconds to use. Because of kind of the placement of where we anticipate to place these, we do not believe these are areas that actually will cause any lingering, because they're mostly in places where delivery workers are kind of grabbing and going to their next order that they're taking. On ClearPath, I mentioned this, but we really emphasize that this is important to DOT as well, from not only just a livability standpoint, but the accessibility side of things. On fire safety, we have been talking to FDNY. We'll continue to talk to FDNY throughout this entire process, make sure that they sign off on these sites as well. And on the appearance, aesthetics are also equally as important, and we will make sure we work to integrate them into the landscape. Next slide. So this is a map with some proposed sites. I know it's a lot to look at, but we are not doing all of these sites. We are narrowing this down to, our approximate 25 locations. In your area, we pitched around 2, and we have a couple slides to show you those areas, and we can walk back. So next slide. In terms of this site is not in your area, just an example to show how we thought about clearances. In this case, you can see that, if a cabinet was placed in this white little box in the center, it would have to be 10 feet from the fire hydrant, it have to be 10 feet from the crosswalk for accessibility, clear of any entrances, and still maintaining that clear path. Next slide. So these two slides are the locations that we are proposing in your area. We would be relocating the street furniture that is already there. We know that bike racks are important to this project as well, so we will make sure to move those to another area. And in the next slide, yes, on this second site, we would relocate this bench or just shift it down a little bit so that we can accommodate this cabinet as well. All right, so just the last 2 slides here that we have. On timeline, where are we right now in this project? We are doing this public engagement, going out to the community boards and advocacy groups, etc. But we launched this public feedback portal in April and plan to, close it in end of July. But right now we are gathering that feedback, going out and taking not only suggestions for feedback on those sites that we propose, but also other suggested locations if those sites don't suffice. In terms of just like the construction timeline, there will be minimal construction. It's really just trenching to get electricity out to the sidewalk area. But this design will begin like later this year, but construction won't really start until next year. And the cabinet installations won't start until later of that year. Next slide. Right, so this is pretty much the last slide. We are happy to take comments and questions. I will answer what I can. This QR code goes to this portal for anyone in the room right now that would like to scan that and leave a comment on your own. Please do so. We are reading that and incorporating that as we can. Thank you so much for your time, and happy to answer any questions.
First, does anybody, I have a couple of comments to make, but first, does anyone have any questions about what the program is or how it's designed? Cody.
I have one about, I know you mentioned the safety of the actual batteries themselves. How will you determine, how does the charging machine determine whether or not a battery is flawed or not? Because, is that part of the problem? Like, flawed
Mhm.
batteries? It's not, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, I agree with you. I would like to hear the answer.
I mean, I was just curious, like, how it would check to see if it's a safe, you know,
yeah.
a safe battery. Sorry,
No, it makes sense. Like, would you have a temperature sensor? Like, if the battery is overheating, would that be a
Yeah.
indicator?
Yes, yes.
mean,
Okay,
like-
so great questions. To first answer your question, something I should have emphasized earlier is that all of the batteries in circulation and all of the cabinets will be certified batteries, right? So what happens is the vendor that we're going to select will be able to, typically will be able to offer their batteries. So everyone will have, the same certified battery in circulation. That's the first approach. So we won't be having like, I know there are different versions out there where people can put their own battery in. This is not what this program is. Right now, we want to make sure that we only have certified proper batteries in circulation. So that's the first part. And on the second part, yes, there are temperature sensors. If batteries overheat, they will be shut off. There are also just temperature regulators because in the summertime it gets hot, so they need to cool down the station. During the wintertime, they need to heat up the station a little bit. So there are temperature sensors and also temperature regulators.
I just have a question based on what Cody said. That sounds great. What if one of the e-bike, the delivery people, they swap their own bootleg battery, they get a certified one. Does the bootleg battery get like inspected and get thrown out, or does that just get automatically recharged?
Yeah. So that occurred during one of the pilot program tests where someone did try to put in their own battery. It triggered a warning to the vendor and they could immediately address that issue.
Thank you.
So these batteries, so I assume they're all interchangeable. People, I mean, I don't know how many battery types there are out there. So I'm assuming that each vendor will have their own specific type, or will this be a type consistent among all the vendors? And then, yeah, how many vendors are there?
Mhm. Um, so on the type of battery, there's not one universal e-bike battery. So definitely there are different variations of e-bike batteries. What we're trying to do is build a system that, can accommodate many different types, but it will not accommodate all types, right? So that's one part of this. And during we're writing the RFP, to select the vendor, and this is one of those important aspects that is critical to this program, which we want to make sure that the batteries in circulation are good, of course, but also that it can accommodate a wide variety of e-bike types out there so that many people can use this program. And in terms of how many vendors we're selecting, that is still TBD. But our purpose is really to make sure we create, somewhat of a usable system, right, for people to utilize this program.
I hope that it's not just one vendor, like with City Bike, it's only Lyft. It's good to have some competition, some variety. And in your presentation, you mentioned that it would be financially self-supporting, but will this also generate revenue for the DOT?
Yeah, those are both questions I think are still being considered and that we are actively thinking about. So when I have more to say that actually answers that question, I will do so.
I'm gonna take that as a yes.
I hope so. No, it should be.
I haven't picked a vendor.
I'm not complaining. I'm
Since
just,
we have no agreement, so.
right, I'm assuming you would be.
I hope so.
I'm asking this, you can't see me, but I'm sitting on a lithium ion battery. I'm a mobility student user. I've been using my batteries for 15 years. So some of the questions about raging fires, of course, are a concern to me, although I've never had problems.
Mhm.
So I'm also very relaxed about it compared to most people who aren't as familiar with batteries as I am. Anyway, I did have a couple questions though. Is that, can you just move it forward a couple? Space, no, forward. I prepared some because I was able to see the slides in advance. One, I know you can appreciate that we live in a neighborhood district, where we have a lot of pedestrians. When you talk about pedestrian space and right of way and pathways, they don't really apply so well to us because a lot of our roads, streets and sidewalks aren't even wide enough for each feet that's allowed in the program. So you're going to get a lot of sensitivity, but I have to say you picked some really good streets with a lot of sidewalk width. So I did not find it to be an issue, but I have to deal with the sensitivity from CB1 members because it's a constant problem for us. We'll get to the next issue. One thing that sets everyone's hair on fire, the thought of someone with a bicycle going on the sidewalk. So the position must be that the user can access them from the roadbed. They cannot to get onto the sidewalk. It's very unlikely they're going to fix their bike on the road and then walk up onto the sidewalk. If they would, that would be great, but it just doesn't happen. And we're going to get this resolution through CB1 board. So the question I had is, for instance, we have a city bike station. You talk about putting it where the chairs up, where the benches are, which would be on the sidewalk. And of course, someone's going to ride their bike up to that. No matter how short it is, the fact is they're riding their bike to it and away from it. And that's what they're going to object to. Is it possible to put it where that white car, just in the front of where the white car is? So that somebody could get off their bike, just do their business, get back on their bike, ride away, never get on the sidewalk. Because I don't see a way to be accessible from the street.
Yeah, that's a great point. So for this particular area, and I can take a look at this again, I believe because our clearances, we want usually 10 feet away from any crosswalk, right? So that car is around it's probably more than 10 feet, but kind of we might not be able to fit it in there, but I can take a look, and this is what we want the feedback for, right? Is if this is a desired area that you guys are okay with, we can take a look at where we can shift it so it's kind of they would be able to access it more from the roadbed. I also can look, further down the street. That is why there's another option here along Water Street, right? That is, I think, in a location that would be accessible by the roadbed.
Okay, because the other one that you proposed would be with a little bit of tweaking, it's just about how you turn the cabinet, but it could be in the zone and face the curb. Does anyone else have comments? Because do you agree that that's going to be a big deal? They can't ride on the sidewalk?
No, that makes sense. Like, for example, in this situation, you could remove maybe 2 or 3 docking stations in the center, and then the city, people using the charging station can walk through that row, the line of city bikes.
Well, yeah, because these aren't that wide.
Right.
They should be able to fit it even in front of where that white car is. But yes, Brendan.
How does the one that we already have play into this? So we have one right here on Broadway between Church and Park Place.
So,
Warren.
By City Hall, kind of, yeah, right, I understand what you're saying.
are you talking about the Deliverista hub that just opened? Okay, yes.
It's
So
not open, but yes.
yeah, so the Deliverista hub is not a DOT kind of we don't own that project. That was from the Parks Department and Workers Justice Project. So it is different, but depending on the vendor that we select, there are multiple vendors kind of, I think another member just mentioned, we want competition. So we understand that that is one vendor that they're using. We are still going to build out the RFP and, evaluate the best vendor for this program. And so if that vendor was selected, that would add to their network. But currently the vendors that we are aware of do have some private locations in the city, and we would be able to allow their private sites to add to kind of the network of cabinet locations.
Would this be included, or what I'm trying to get at is, I want to make sure that we are aware of these multiple hubs that are being stood up because of some of the challenges that we that you pointed out and that we pointed out. And so I don't want to get to a place to where it's, whether it's parks or DOT, that is just like, oh, well, we only have 2 in that neighborhood or in that community board or in that district, where in
Yeah.
actuality, we have more than that.
Mhm. Yeah, I take your point. Yeah, I take your point, and I will make sure to talk to my team to ensure that, we actually have a good network that, and consider what's already out there.
Thank you.
Great. Any other comments? I don't see any hands online.
I have a question. What? How do you incentivize people to use these? Like if I'm, a delivery driver and I already own my stuff and it's basically free for me to charge my battery. What incentivizes me to join a subscription service?
Yeah. No, that's a great question, and something we're thinking deeply about, right? Because economics is super important. People don't do things for free. So one thing is that workers right now already either are charging this during the day somewhere in the city, maybe plugging into an outlet that they find, right? And so there's one aspect of things are already being charged. And the other thing is, with kind of a program like this, users could save time on that charge. That's one thing I think. The second part is that safety aspect, being able to, rely on a service instead of actually having to take a lithium ion battery back home, that might not be certified because it's cheaper, right? That's like another aspect. So I do think there is a financial reason for, especially workers who use this for their job, like investing in their job. And then there is the other side, which is like the safety side and just keeping themselves safe. So I think those two are some good incentives for them.
Elaine, let me help you out. As someone who has to pay for the repair of them and everything else, I can give you some more incentives than that. There is the problem of needing to replace them, and I can see why they don't like carrying around the extra one. If the bike falls over, they get damaged, it isn't good news. They're very expensive to buy, which is why they're motivated to buy non-UL certified. I don't do that. I mean, I've never bought one that's not UL certified. But nevertheless, that's what tends people to do that. If they have somebody else, the company, that actually buys them in bulk, they can probably get them cheaper. They're being charged somewhere other than at home. You just make a quick switch. You don't have to sit there. Mine take hours to charge. So you don't have that going on and having to be available to get them unplugged. You can't really be gone during that period. If you're going to be aware that it's charging, just in case it does start to heat up. There's also the problem, since it is expensive, are they going to save the money to buy the new one when they need to? And one of the things you do have to monitor, that I'm sure any company that does this is going to, they monitor to see how much the cells are aging. Those cells that age cannot be charged. So the distance that's potential on a charged battery gets shorter and shorter with time. So a lot of people who are buying used batteries, they have very little left. They can't go very far on their batteries compared to a new one or a heavily packed one with lots of cells in it. So those are all issues that people who use them all the time are very aware.
Appreciate that.
I sit on them. Are there any other comments or questions when we talk about a resolution? Because we do have to make a position. So
We're doing a resolution on this?
that's how we communicate with the DOT. Since we're a CB, that's how we communicate. That's also how Tammy prefers to communicate.
But it was only listed as discussion.
As chair, I can demand a resolution. So, therefore, we will look at a resolution for the two particular sites.
Put it down.
I was gonna say, no. Nevertheless, if you go to the next one, it's merely a matter of saying, look at the position. Did you want to go see both sites again?
No,
That's all we're really talking about here. And also suggestions about locations, I want to make one comment. One is, since they're having comments about the food carts, some of them being looked at for going onto cell batteries versus going to the diesel generators that they currently use, which are smelly and noisy.
I wish that this, I think it's a good idea. I wish it could be subsidized through some type of grant program, because I see somebody that's living on a very slim margin, less than many of us here in this community board. I see Zach's point. It's great. Yes, it is. The benefits outweigh the negatives of safety, but somebody that's living on the margin sometimes can't think like that. So, I just, you know, I don't know, Mike Bloomberg, or some, you know, angel, you know, I'm not talking about politically, I'm just talking about like grant wise, you know? I forget her name.
Yeah.
I'm looking it up, yes. Has there been any discussion about trying to get like a program, at least in the beginning, like subsidized to try to induce, you know, the crowd to come in for safety reasons?
Sorry, the last part that you just said,
Has there ever been any discussion to try to like fund it to try to get like the crowd that you're going after, at least for safety reasons, where it's subsidized so that there's not a financial drawback to the delivery worker, at least in the beginning, until it's proved, you know, until it's proven to them. I mean, it looks great, but until it's proven to the people that are living on the margin that it would be in their benefit.
yeah, no, I definitely take your comments. Definitely something that our team has been thinking about and trying to think through what the right way is. We've also gotten comments, you know, from other community boards saying, you know, that the app should be paying for this. We recognize that as well. So yeah, I think there are a couple options out there, but we're still making kind of some decisions here. But I take your point.
Thank you.
Actually, Betty, yeah, if now is the plan to vote on it, yeah, we should see what the second location is. I only remember the other one on Water
But
Street.
you want to go back to the first one, it was a little bit earlier. That one. When she said she was gonna move the bike.
Water.
Because that, you could access, depends how it's turned, you could reach it from the street. You don't need to be on the sidewalk.
Oh, so they're both on Water Street?
Mhm.
Yes,
One's right in front of DOT.
okay, so everyone's satisfied that you know the locations that we proposed? Want to go, people can propose anything they want, but again, like I said, if they're used by food cart vendors, it may be advantageous to consider them when looking at locations in the future as well. See how the market moves. Do you want to go back to,
So like,
keep going, back to where we were?
Forward.
Backtrack. Yes, okay, therefore be it resolved. You can say anything you want. I went through all the standard things that I did every time I do anything that had bicycles. It could be on the sidewalk. So this would be, we support, I think there's no question to support the public charging idea because it is a safety issue.
Right.
To the two sites, I think there would be no objections as long as there are some conditions. What I see is one, they can be accessed by the bike operator using, you can access without the bike operator using the sidewalk. I think that's gonna be critical because otherwise there's gonna be concern they're gonna ride to wherever they're going. The pedestrian clear paths are protected, which they say they're going to do, it shouldn't be a problem. And hardened barriers are placed to protect the users if needed to prevent incursions by motor vehicles, since we're asking that it be done from the street side. Sidewalk. Any response to that or additions? Yes, good.
I like the suggestion of the house. I mean, you know,
Mhm.
the change on this, like the community board suggested. Seems like that would certainly
Incentivize.
incentivize.
incentivize adoption.
Yeah, I mean, it would, you know, put the onus on them, because, I mean, they're doing what they're doing because it's the outcome. It's demand that they do it for them to get paid, and so.
So you would like to, would you like to do?
Would that be a wherefore?
Would be another therefore be it resolved.
And the
That the DOT do what?
DOT eventually approached app companies such as,
rideshare companies.
like, you know, to
Incentivize their employees to
teams
utilize
of
the
other
service.
employees, right, by paying for the services.
Or subsidizing the cost of the,
Yeah. And I think that, would lead to more people using them anyway.
So you want them to seek ways to find,
Correct.
seek ways to get some subsidy via the apps or
Some
other,
underwriting. Yeah. Absolutely. From the app companies themselves.
right, which it may actually be going up to city council, but nevertheless. I mean, because DOT can't make anybody do anything, although potentially.
Oh, it's
they
just a
can do it later,
suggestion,
right.
it's just a suggestion.
No, I understand.
Everything we have there is are suggestions to recommend.
Look, that sounds good to have it subsidized by the app companies, but I want to add a caveat though. The DOT should be earning revenue from this because these battery charging areas would benefit these apps who are for-profit companies encouraging their contractors to use these battery charging stations, which are fine, but New York City needs to earn some revenue for these private companies using our public infrastructure.
Were they hearing from the app companies?
The app companies, yeah. I want to make sure that.
Like, yeah, that's fine. I just feel like, subsidize it for the actual deliveristas. The people who should subsidize them should be the people who are driving it to drive property.
You have to kind of turn this around. What are you looking for them to do? To subsidize the workers, i.e. them rolling into the subscription system, which is what it would be? Or are you looking for the vendor that owns the cabinet to be paying the DOT money?
I mean, I think whoever you
Sounds like you're at.
should pay, look, if they're gonna take, people that use public infrastructure, if they use it, but once they own it and no one else can use it and exclude other people, they have to pay a fee.
they're saying both.
I-
They want you to subsidize, they want the app companies to subsidize, and they want the vendors to give a fee to DOT.
Correct.
That sounds good.
Okay, so those two things would be added as therefore they'd have to be separate. I'll play with it, but I think they apply to be separate, therefore be it resolves.
I'm assuming that, would there be some, like I said, most of the parking spaces around there are just no parking. But sometimes there's some meters where, the few, or nights or weekends, there are a couple of spots being taken up. I'm sorry, I forget you. I'm looking at it.
Elaine. Yeah, no worries.
Are there any, like if it's just like no parking zones anyway, and so it's just a win-win situation, or if some parking spots have to be up, could it kind of be like better, like to try to, what's the word I'm looking for?
Pictures, you can see.
Try to have it where you can't, like, people can't park anyway. It's in no parking areas, or it's flat cars only, so that it's kind of, not like taking up a metered spot or something like, there's so few over there,
Yeah.
not as a definite thing, but as a preference.
Yeah, taken, taken, and we will try to look around.
Thank you.
If I get a motion, yes.
Why don't they put this underneath the FDR? There's all that space, and it's actually cooler during the summer. There's no sunlight heating it, and then there's no snow on it, and there's ample space. Why wasn't underneath the FDR considered?
Can you get electricity there?
We did restaurant.
Mm.
Yeah, I think generally, and we're talking with FD about this, we're trying not to put it under elevated spaces right now. And so all of the locations that we've chosen are
Is this a
just
site?
like, and then that's worst case scenario, of course, but we want to make sure we're doing.
There's truth in humor.
Are there other,
And then I'm counting on you.
I'm good with it.
are there other bits, to add? All right, so then are we ready to call the question? Somebody has a second.
Second.
Okay. Okay, so you see what the resolution, they're therefore get resolved, well, it disappeared. But anyway, that as well as the two additions, the one about the request to subsidize, get the apps to subsidize the actual users and also to ask the vendors to pay some kind of fee to the DOT for the space that they can't be used for any other purpose by the public.
I was like a fair subsidy for people with low income, you know? No, I mean, I'm not changing what they said, I'm just saying that that's the genesis of what I was thinking. Yeah. Anyway,
Yeah.
well, the question was already called before.
That's the
Brenda
question,
said-
yes. It's gonna be done by affirmation. Are there any, so we're gonna, are there any no's? And I'm looking at Santiago too. Are there any
Abstentions.
abstentions? Thank you.
Thompson abstains.
Recusals?
Are there any recusals? Okay, then the rest, so they're going to be 1, 2. There's 6,
Thompson abstains, right?
right,
Correct.
so there'll be 5 yeses.
Okay.
Thank you, that passes, and thank you for the presentation.
Thank you so much. Have a nice day.
You too. And we will move on to the second item, because we have people from Leonard Street here. And you have heard this issue before. This is only coming up again, well, after, let Zach have a moment and back to the slides. Now we'll just move forward. Oh, you went too far. Oh, sorry, right, you have to backtrack, sorry. Okay, so this one, remember, we did it here before. Thank you, Madeline. And we're coming back to it because now we've had some time to hear from the public. We wanted to make sure it wasn't just one person making a comment. So again, this is, and just for to everyone's memory, as well as for those who may not have been around it the last time. Go to the next one, this will be another resolution. Leonard Street is cobblestone street, it is residential buildings. Next. People don't really follow the parking directions very well. The complaint was that it's too narrow for parking on the north and south sides of the street, which they're not really supposed to anyway. But this leads to altercations, excessive horn honking. And so that's the complaint. The request is to change the block of Leonard Street between West Broadway and Hudson Street to parking on only one side.
What was the sign on the side that they want to change? I forgot what it was.
Yeah, don't read, some of that stuff's out of date anyway.
Well, I need to know that before I can make a decision.
Actually, you don't. Because
Okay.
Go to the
Thank
next.
you. So I don't need to-
This is the problem. To remind people who did not see the pictures before, they do get large trucks that choose it instead of Worth Street. The truck route, the real truck route. Next. The DOT made a proposal after the last presentation and said that given the current complaints and the width of the street, proposing installing a no standing anytime regulation on the north side, which is what you saw, Mitch,
Okay,
on the street, and to the existing no parking anytime to Hudson Street.
so it's no parking anyway, right now, right?
No, not
I'm sorry.
to Hudson Street. Around that sign it is, but there is an area that isn't from Hudson Street. It's spotty, it's not.
Has anybody tried to enforce the no truck rule because the trucks are not supposed to go through there?
We've tried all kinds of,
Okay,
which is why they came forward, and the NYP, and they also said the DOT, the NYPD responsibility to enforce the parking regulations, but they can move forward with the changes and have to give a heads up to the police. That's kind of where we left it. Next. The DOT said. And then we also heard from Kate that they can move forward with what the DOT proposed, which is what Madeline had said sounds fine. But we needed to have a resolution. The resolution, I told them we needed to have some opportunity for people from the public to voice yes or no. In case there were people on the block who were heavily opposed to it. And this was what we had talked about before, so just to remind you, to formalize it. It is just requesting that the Department of Transportation install no standing anytime regulations north side of the street, so it'll replace the no parking
No parking 7 to 7 or 8 to 6, or no parking all the time.
It's all those.
It says
When you get to
anytime.
that, I don't think the
Sorry?
time makes any difference.
It says anytime.
So it is-
No, what I'm saying, the sign, like the part of the street where they want to change the sign, what was?
I know you want to defend parking, but they really don't want people.
No,
to
he's
stop and
asking
out.
what it says today.
You know,
So,
Current
you
situation.
can't- you can't-
that's what I'm telling you. It
That's
says-
bias, that you can't answer a
no,
question.
it says it there. So it's the anytime. So it doesn't have like a time limit.
No, it says they want to install that. I just want to know what they want, what's there that they were.
No, it says in the existing, no parking anytime to Hudson Street. So it's the second part of that sentence. They want to install no standing anytime.
No standing anytime.
Yeah.
But
Oh,
anytime-
Currently, there's no parking anytime. They want to install no standing
But
anytime.
some of the signs that were on there that I showed before, I wanted to point out, those have changed since those were on Google Maps. Some of them aren't current. This is because the DOT looked at. The signs can be that I have on slides can be misleading. But Kate, you like,
Okay, I mean, I'm just saying, there are people that come to the neighborhood at night that sometimes don't want to, they can't afford to pay $50 or $100.
don't
for
understand, and there are people
And that's-
flying from that block who.
But
But it's
Already
already,
still get tested.
that's what I wanted to know.
right, that's what I'm saying.
Without the bias. Okay, I'm okay with that. I just wanted to know because I forgot what the original sign was.
Right.
Yeah, no, my comment was, you can't go by some of the things you're seeing on the slides, because they were from a period where we found out the last time, those regulations do not reflect today's regulations. They reflect, I think they were 2 or 3 years ago, to Google Maps on that particular block.
Sure.
So don't take that too seriously on this block, because they're from 22 and things have changed since then. But Kate, did you have anything to say?
Yeah, just to interject, the no standing anytime would place the commercial truck loading closer to Hudson Street, and those hours are 7 a.m. to 7 p.m.
But that's not what was, I was just, okay, thank you. That means that after 7 p.m. right now, there are spots that people that would come at night that could park there now, correct? Katie?
Yeah, overnight for the commercial.
So then that's not what you just told me. Not you, Katie.
There is no parking. There's closer to the corner, the West Broadway corner. There is a segment of no parking anytime. Then it's truck loading, and then it is no standing anytime, and then it's truck loading again until Hudson on the north side.
It's not a good situation all around. Okay, thank you.
Yeah,
The
let's-
south, the south side does have commercial loading though.
JV Benz, if you would like to speak, please unmute.
Yes, hi. Sorry, I live on Leonard Street as well, and I just want to echo what was raised here. So it's very often that we end up with cars stuck by trucks that cannot navigate between between cars parked on both sides of the street, and this leads to non-stop honking, terrible air quality. And on top of that, at the end of Leonard Street is a stop sign that leads to Hudson. And at night or in the evening, it's impossible to basically make the turn to go to the tunnel. So having parking just on one side, the south side, would be much better for residents here. And you're right. It's during the day, it's no parking during 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. That being said, people still park there, and the NYPD is very active in the street. But people park there, and it's definitely not truck loading or unloading. It's people just park there, and there is, to be fair, most of the time, and I think Madeline is on the phone as well. Most of the time, half of the street, if not 3/4 of the street, are FBI cars or police cars that basically park there, whether it's day, whether it's night. They park there during the entire day. You've got like not emergency vehicle because they are like civil car, but it's all Homeland Security, FBI cars that are parked in the street there.
So wouldn't they get away with, I mean, it's terrible. I mean, the problem is the placards on the trucks. Wouldn't they get a big pass on with any sign, on an FBI car? I'm not for that. I'm just saying, no standing. Okay, let's put no standing. I agree with that. The FBI or the Home or the DHS, they're gonna be there anyway, correct? I mean, I just wish that there was some way to make, to find some of the trucks and then the word will get around, you know, between them, you know, just like when they have a drunk driving, like roadblock once in a while. Because that seems to be the major problem, but I mean, I sympathize with it.
Eric, you like to speak?
Yeah, I agree. The problem will resolve parking with these proposed changes. My question is, why is it the north side that would be no parking or no standing? I think it should be the south side, because if you're making a turn from Barrack Street with a truck, you already need clearance for a wide turn. Because there is a need for people to
There is no parking on that side of the street. There is no standing, no parking at the corner of Varick and Leonard. On the north side, you cannot park there. You can only start parking on the south side, halfway down the street.
If I can just raise my hand when I have a minute, I've been waiting.
Yes, you're right. And I'm aware of that. But so you're gonna have a truck make a turn from Barrack Street. It has to make a wide turn, and then there'll be no parking, I think probably for the first, I don't know, 50 to 100 feet. And then it has to curve back inside, you know, to the right on Leonard Street. Why not just keep the parking for trucks and deliveries on the north side and just have all of the south side of Leonard Street clear so that the vehicles can go through without obstruction?
Madeline, let me speak, but let me let Kate speak from the DOT, because the DOT is the one who looked at it and said they want it on the north side. So they probably know a little bit more, that if Kate could tell.
No, that's okay, but I'd like to know why.
That's why I'm giving Kate an opportunity to speak before Madeline.
I would have to go back and check with our borough engineers. I think they indicated that, you know, there's a possibility we could do the south side if that was the preference. But I would have to double check if there was another reason why they wanted to advance the north side.
Thank you. Madeline, would you like to speak?
Yeah, I just think I wasn't really thinking we were trying to invite more trucks and worry about trucks. And I very rarely see trucks taking a right. Most of the truck action I see is coming straight down Leonard because they're coming to do some little like save time moves. And I believe Betty Kay put in to Waze or Google Maps to take Leonard off the truck route. I hadn't thought about the positioning because it just seemed logical being on this street when you live here, that this is the better side for parking because that's how it works better at this time. Presently, there has been fewer cars parked here, and I'm not sure if that's because Betty put through a message to the federal enforcement or whatever that process is for the cars, but there's been fewer of them. I've noticed we've had some days where it's clean on that north side, and it just seems to run so much better. I just feel like it's illogical being across the street. There's those garages that sit in the middle, so you won't have parking near there. It'll be a bit choppy, whereas when you enter the street near Starbucks, it's directly a garage, so no one's parking there anyway. It just might be a bit choppy if you do it the reverse way, based on that 15 Leonard.
I think the other item related to trucks as well is that this is a cobblestone street. You should see in which state the cobblestone is because of the trucks in the street.
Yeah.
It's like you literally cannot drive with a normal car. You cannot drive faster than literally 5 miles an hour because it's like being on a trail in I don't know. It's like being on a trail, unpaved trail. The weight of the trucks has completely destroyed the street.
Have you guys had, first of all, I agree with you 100%. Is because I know by Vestry and Greenwich, when people have given me a ride home, it's like I said, 5 miles an hour is too fast or else you'll damage the car. But has there been any movement on trying to, with the police department, on the main problem of the trucks, which seems to be the trucks or the large vans seems to be the main problem besides the placards. Has there been any movement on trying to really address the root of that problem?
Movement.
Whether it's Madeline or anybody from, Katie or
I mean,
anybody.
I've been on this thread a few times. I've given images and I've spoken directly to your CB1 and community members. There should be some emails that went directly to the community board from residents. I'm not sure who's taking note of those, but everyone had your address and I was copied on some. So there is community support for this on our street.
No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying the root of the truck seems to be the genesis of the problem.
No, it's not really the truck that's the genesis. It's actually, we have a very narrow street, probably one of the most narrow in Tribeca. We also have cobblestone, and then we have larger vehicles in this planet that suddenly park across from each other. Whether you're a truck or just a regular SUV, there is sometimes not enough room to get by. But trucks, we shouldn't have semi-trailers. I don't understand.
I thought the trucks were the problem with the placards. That's what I thought.
It's not, they have multiple issues.
Okay.
They are getting a large semis that shouldn't be there. Right now, the DOT is working on a rule to change the truck routes.
Sure.
And one of the portion, if you read the rule that is it's pending, it hasn't passed yet, is going to be changing the signage because they acknowledge that over on Vestry and others, it's not well demarcated, telling them where the truck routes are, directing them to where the truck routes are, or that some are for local deliveries only and they shouldn't even be on them. So they're hoping that the DOT then, are hoping that'll override some of the following the GPS navigation of the apps that they use.
Well, that would help.
I did that the rule they're trying to change. Yes, Madeline?
Well, that would help. I've probably at least a dozen times helped clear that street, as I told you. This trucks, people are stuck, they can't get through, whatever vehicle truck it is. Everyone reverses off our street. I help them. Even police are in the middle of me helping them. And everyone reverse and comes right back on the street, which is a safety hazard to get them off. I've done it myself on the street where we've got me holding traffic on two separate sides. So
You don't need to rehash the issue.
I was
Because
explaining
we've heard
it.
that part before.
Yeah, I was just explaining it in relation.
To Mitch, as he was asking. Probably wasn't at the last meeting. But yes, the issue is what has to do with passing this resolution to request.
Is there additional feedback or questions about this resolution?
Yes,
Very specifically.
about, and
And this resolution is narrow to the problem that was addressed. And DOT, if you recall, those of you who weren't here for the last meeting, they said they could look to more solutions because they do appreciate this won't necessarily stop the trucks. But they need to start by doing this and looking at it before they move forward. The regulation change on one side was step one that they felt they needed to do.
so I think it makes sense to eliminate parking or deliveries, unloading on one side so that wide vehicles can pass through. I want to make sure that there's utility of the street, because when I mean trucks, I also mean vans. I mean maintenance vehicles to service your buildings. There needs to be a place for them to load and unload, a practicality of this street. So it makes sense with one side being restricted, always being a through area. But based on what I've only been to the area a few times, but I think it should be on the south side where there should be no parking or no standing, not on the north side. Because of that curve area, and you've already taken out along by the corner by Starbucks for that turn area. You're making a curve and then you're merging to the right. I think, look, I used to drive a bus, so I know how it is to drive a large vehicle. to weave around again to the right side of Leonard Street, I just think it makes it more complicated. And I'm also looking at to ensure that there's enough utility, enough space for vehicles that do need to use Leonard Street.
So could we
Which
ask,
is the first item to say that we request that the DOT install no standing anytime regulations on one side of the street, period.
yeah, and then what we can ask then is for DOT, so what Kate has said earlier, to go back to the engineers to
Right.
do a full evaluation.
But this would not hinder moving forward on the time frame we have for the community board calendar.
Yeah,
Nevertheless, we don't know at this point. It could be north or it could be south, depending on what the engineers decide.
I think that's a good.
Would you agree with that, that we ask them to limit it to one and leave it to the engineers' expertise?
I'll think of, see, yes, no, that's great. I'm okay with that. But I just want there to be something to allow the functionality
You're so
Not-
cool. Chapstick.
for maintenance vehicles.
Please write a whereas that you recommend to me, and I'll also add that. Because I think that would be very helpful.
Okay.
Set this down. So the first one is going to be to one side of the street. Those words will be gone. Removing the incentives would stay, that second item, and third, the NYPD.
So on the south side of the street, it's the same parking regulations, there's only a small percentage where there's like parking at night and weekends? Or is there more availability of the parking on the south side of the street right now? Natalie, you know?
Sorry, I wasn't sure that was addressed to me, so I wasn't
So
really.
There was, so the comment just said that apparently, so JB is responding, that apparently on the south side, there is more available parking.
So then if the DOT, I would just like to say, I mean, now it's getting more complicated, but if the DOT does determine that the south side is better, then I would just propose to then switch the signage that's on the south side to the north side, and then the south side is all no parking. So this way, like, the whole street is not just, nothing at night when, you know, sometimes, you know, just.
Can we just request that when DOT does their engineering evaluation, that they come back, and so that we can also maybe opine on that? So then we can say, hey, if you're gonna do
Yeah.
the south side, can you make sure to put it on the other side?
Yeah, you know, like whatever it is to help the residents and to help, you know, anybody else just to
The
keep things
community.
like on an even keel. I'm good with personally.
Okay,
Yeah, we kind of know how our street runs at this point and how it seems to run right now. It works. So it would be a total,
I'm just trying to move this along.
Yeah, no, I understand. But what Madeline's saying is, it's more known to them if it's the north side, because they know how their street works.
Yeah, I don't think we need to debate the north or south
But
anymore.
if we- However, since they've thrown in that you want to have, are you really asking me to hear from the DOT before we move forward with this resolution at all?
Mhm.
Based on whatever,
I'm okay with the one side personally, with what you said.
Yeah, so we are okay with,
Yeah.
yeah, so we would update to do the, say, one side, and then we would
second
just,
change.
yep. And then we would just say, hey, can you, and maybe this is a whereas, can the DOT come back after the engineers have done their evaluation? So that we could opine to say exactly what Mitch just said, which is if you're gonna move it to the south side, can you just make sure that we have an equal amount of parking on the north side for whatever reason? Or vice versa. If they're gonna do it on the south side or north side, then let's,
Well, if
he's
they do
just
it on the
trying to,
north side, then nothing changed, then it's
Right.
okay.
right.
That's why the north, even
But
though,
it would not block the resolution passing, because they need to do
Right.
this passing for them to even start to
I mean,
move.
Eric's point makes a good point, but I mean, Madeline lives on the block and if her and the residents feel the north side works better, even though on paper, maybe the south side looks better, I'm okay.
Well, that
with
would
it.
give, with what I just said, it would give the community an opportunity to come back and actually provide that impact.
I'm just
information.
What is,
Both sides.
I'm trying to minimize the number of words and get this to the
Okay.
point. The first one to be changed to just one side of the street.
Yep.
As, what's the wording that you use for what you want to promote, that it stay functional?
That,
They maximize,
Functionality for,
for vehicles to the maintenance vehicles and utility by neighbors, residents.
and also the available parking.
Mhm.
That,
I would just put it in there so that it's,
just equal, yeah, whatever
That
is there
works.
now,
Yeah.
just, you know, like even Stephen.
I
then
really,
we'll include that into the first one. We'll have them use Eric's as well as maximizing parking within the first one, as a consideration for them while they're
Sure,
considering which side of the street makes the most sense.
sure.
Other questions or feedback?
Yes, Madeline, did you have another comment?
No, I would like to just suggest, considering that I brought this to if I could meet the engineer or the point person just to be here. I also have my office for 15 years on this street, so I live right in front of the traffic. So if I could just have that person meet me, I'd appreciate it.
Kate, can we get,
That would be Kate, not me.
yeah,
I can check with them if we can connect you.
Yeah, I mean,
Madeline,
it would seem like
you
you
have
need to
Kate's
get
contact?
the residents, because we didn't agree to like which side we were told it would be the way that we were talking. Now it's changing. We would have to go back to the neighbors and say, hey, and I don't think we would get that support.
I was gonna say, do you really want to mess with the side since the neighbors evolved?
I would just say, I would stick to what we have, which is to say one side.
No, but Brendan, what we're betting, I mean, I'm kind of being influenced a little by Madeline, where
They're saying keep this exactly the way.
that
it's
they've gone through so much work to try to get the agreement.
I
from the neighbors.
understand
And
the people
DOT
that live there,
proposal.
and I would have the same opinions about exactly where I live.
Right.
But also, I understand and respect engineers and what they do and how they evaluate.
They chose the north side.
But Kate said she would have to get back to why it was selected.
Right.
Nevertheless, they were the ones who proposed what's proposed.
So we're also trying to make an avenue for engineers to connect with the community members that live there. So that's why I say, let's say, we stick to what we just agreed to, which is the one side, everything else we said in the whereas, and then we'll do the connecting of the engineers with the community specifically, post that, to make sure that they understand as well as they are doing their engineering due diligence. Okay.
Everyone agree?
Sure.
Call the question. Somebody has a second?
Sorry.
Thank you. Vote by affirmation. Are there any no's? Are there any
Abstention.
abstentions? Any recusals? Then it passes unanimously. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate your time.
Thank you, Madeline, and I'll make sure that you're connected. Who knows what the engineers are gonna pick? They may pick the north side anyway after analyzing.
I would assume that they would just stay with that.
I won't assume anything,
Anyway,
but it's not a guarantee they're gonna switch.
And you do this anyway, but if we perchance hear something between now and full board, I guess just make sure we get that update, because that might influence how the rest of the board goes.
Yeah.
Could I
Kate,
just
let me
make
know.
one point about the parking? One of the buildings is our largest building, is on this side, which is 18 Leonard, the Juilliard building. They have the most residents in that building, and it's on this side where 10 Leonard is. So I just
You on the
wanted to
north
say, yeah, there's a lot of people in that building. So I'll leave it at that, and I look forward to meeting the engineer in the street and sharing with him a more experienced opinion on the flow of traffic here.
Right, because the residents have all been supporting the north side.
Yeah,
I also want to say something, my reasoning is, so the community board and the DOT, I mean, what the neighbors want and what they need, it's very important. But it's also in the context of the greater neighborhood, not just the block. That's why I want to think of just the residents on that block. Throughput is essential, but there's also other factors. We're removing spaces almost everywhere. We want to make sure that there's enough space for vehicles, maintenance vehicles to use it. Now, look, I defer to the engineers, but I just want to make sure that that's considered, that we don't just take more than is necessary for parking of commercial vehicles.
one last point you brought up about the vehicles turning, the trucks turning, that obviously I have to go back because I'm pretty sure at that end where Square Diner is, they've got that new concrete area in the road. You can't just do a turn into that area. It doesn't flow like that. There's actually been work done since the pandemic I'm going to take a picture. I'm going to go there after this call, but I'm pretty sure it's actually harder that way because of the road work that they have.
I think she has to make a right turn, I think that's what
So,
you're saying.
yeah, if that's the case, yeah, the engineers, I'm sure.
And it's a move.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you, and I want to, go to the next slide. If there are a lot of issues with this, I want to make sure that people who are on know that I'm not intentionally skipping over them or that I'm unaware of them, because we do need to deal with it. They do have terrible traffic problems some of the time on, whoops, where'd it go? On the block. This will be dealt with at a future meeting, and we're gonna send it, if there's any feedback about this, Zach and I would be interested in getting more information about it. But so people can see it, because Madeline sent it to me, so I know she's seen it. So people who live on the blocks have seen it.
Well, it's not a surprise, we see it just walking around.
We have, there could be other people who are online.
Sure.
But next, so they know what I'm talking about. The North Reading Neighborhood Association has been working on this. This Hudson Street, of course, is at the end of the block, and the congestion is partly back up from that. So we need to work with that group, and we will be. Next. They are also working, another reason for them, they've also been working with the First Precinct and getting some assistance. Which is gonna be something we're gonna have to build on, because that's obviously one of the bigger issues around Hudson Street and the Holland Tunnel traffic. Next. And the Senate bill that I hope for blocking the box, that did not make it into the state budget this year, unfortunately. So we will be taking that up on a future one as well.
Don't we have another agenda item? I think you're doing your news, right?
Yeah,
Oh,
no,
yeah.
it's finishing up these, but yeah, don't worry about it. This is just because if those people from that block, this is all tied in, eventually we're asking for a grander solution than such a narrow resolution. So this is somewhat to address that as well. Next, so wider Tribeca traffic problems. As far as the location for e-battery swapping, this is going to be canceled because we ended up not having a speaker for it. So,
This is
Yeah,
what
we did that one.
oh, sorry. So we went backwards, sorry. The last one though is canceled then.
Okay,
It just has a different.
sure.
Is this for the Assembly bill? Okay.
It's canceled, so we don't have anyone that came forward to speak about it.
We reached out to Bill Colton's office by phone and email several times. They acknowledged they got the request, but they weren't able to
It's end of session.
say that they could come.
And the bill is obviously not moving forward this late in the session. And it's very late in the session. Also, this bill was first introduced in 2009. So they're realistic about this. Next. There's an update, just a few quick things, but this have to do with the very immediate future in our district. FIFA World Cup, their permits, of course, and lots of things have been suspended. No problem, we just haven't gotten those for permit requests. Next, those who want to know where the NYPD is most concerned, it is around One Peak Plaza around here, not a big surprise.
Like right here?
Yes. Next. But watch out for the streets and don't plan on driving if you're smart. On Tuesday, the 16th, it would be the NBA Game 6 if they go to Game 6. It will also be Senegal versus France at 3 p.m. Now, keeping in mind that you cannot use these streets or commuters cannot use these trains for 6 hours before a FIFA match and for 3 hours after it ends. People aren't going to be using mass transit, so it's going to be different. A lot of the roads are going to be closed because of the buses going back and forth. Here on the next one, you'll see some.
You said the train, I'm sorry, did I miss something? Did
You go back.
The trains, could you just repeat
Yes,
that?
go back to you. See,
I'm not worried about the cars, just the
you have to
train,
get around the Madison Square Garden to
right?
get in. New Jersey Transit
Okay,
is not allowing civilians, people without ticket holders, to use their trains up to 6 hours before the match starts, which is 3 p.m. and for at least 3 hours after the match ends.
So what do people do that normally take New Jersey train to go
That's
to
the
work?
question.
Yeah.
The New Jersey governor has told people to please work from home.
That's,
And,
That's,
yeah, no, not that thing.
but I want to remind people about it because it can still be a headache as well.
My plumber, I mean, I'm just making a hypothetical, can't work from home to fix my leak. I mean, you know,
Yeah, no, there are lots of issues that I want people to be aware of.
that's crazy.
And this is an especially day to keep on your calendar to be at home or something.
Has there been pushback to that, Betty?
No, it was the mayor's.
No, but I mean, I would think there would be crazy pushback by, you know, everybody just doesn't have a 9 to 5 job that could work from a computer. Okay.
I think
We'll see,
But you have to-
there are gonna be people commuting, obviously.
No,
you have to consolidate it to that area too, though. So like they're gonna be
Right.
skipping that stop.
But you're going to see.
I got a notification because that is the stop I get out.
21st Street, just walk back, State Block, whatever, something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah. But I
It's
got
more-
notification
No, but New
that
Jersey
I should
Transit,
work from home.
New Jersey, I'm talking about people, New Jersey Transit, not the subways.
Right, so go to the next one that does involve people on this side too. And the MTA is being, go next.
yeah.
Now, next. That's not the end of the mayor's order. Less than 6% of the $98 Jersey Transit tickets have been sold, which means they have really no idea how these World Cup people are planning on moving
Because
back and
they're
forth.
charging, so, I mean, they're.
They are, but you
helicopters.
can't drive and you can't
They're
drive a
building
car, so they have limited options.
What
So
about the
I guess-
Long Island Railroad? Is that gonna be,
Well,
also?
they're gonna be New Jersey Transit.
Okay, so that doesn't
Yeah.
affect the LA, the Long Island Railroad at Penn Station?
No,
Okay.
next.
Yeah.
On match days, we're going to have problems with, look at all these blocks. There are going to be a number of roads that be turned over to become bus lanes for these buses going back and forth to the World Cup match games. So be aware of that. And next, don't drive on those roads or plan on it. As also the truck delivery routes have been suspended and they're aware of that for daytime. So they are all looking for different ways to make their deliveries. And the DOT had an announcement out asking anyone wanted to look at besides night deliveries, to look at options that if they could link in with either Blue Highways or micro hubs or other programs, they would explore those with different vendors. Might be looking, but there are a lot of uncertainties. Just want you to be aware of it. And that's 30th Street to 60th Street.
Yeah, no, right.
Next. Oh, yeah, and this was just for the DOT to ask
Yeah.
for. Next. And keep in mind on the 3rd and 4th, because that'll be before our next meeting, hopefully. We're gonna have a lot of activities all around our district on the waterways. So keep in mind, on the 4th, it's gonna be on the Hudson, on the 3rd, it's gonna be on the East River. Go to the next, you wanna see how big a to-do it's going to be? Coming to New York Harbor. First, you're gonna see all the tall ships, that is the real attractive point. But look at all the countries represented, as well as how many ships, tall ships within, from the US. But that's not all of it. You go to the next. Look at all the non-tall ships that are also participating, and from the various countries that they are participating. It should be a long parade that's going on. Next. And we have a lot of the viewing areas. So those are all things to watch out for planning your days around for our next meeting. And then stop super speeders did pass in the state budget, although the black box didn't, this did go. Thank you. Next. And it matches with our resolution, so they changed the law after we saw it. and voted on it. EDC is looking to put in some refrigerated barges that will be traveling up the Hudson and up the East River. This will get more trucks off the road, but what I want you to see is next, I'm looking at only the relevant stuff. You look at the very end of it here. EDC plans to establish barge landings across the city where workers can unload the goods from barges to electric cargo bikes for last mile deliveries. This is very likely to include those like Pier 6 and others that they've already spoken about participating in Blue Highways. They're not necessarily take everything in the Bronx and then bring it all down by road again. Some of it will be dropped off along the way. Next. So you may see more cargo bikes related to that. Amazon shipping services have changed. In fact, when they made the announcement quite recently, UPS and FedEx had big sell-offs. Why? Those two, along with the United Postal Service, are logistics companies. They make, their business is to deliver things and pick up things and move them. That's their business. Amazon is a retailer, this is Walmart, that happens to do a lot of shipping and logistics, but that's not how they make their money. So they are cutting the prices down, which is why the sell-off for the companies that are trying to make profits doing it. But what's important is, you go to the next one, the announcement they made with the shipping services included, they are now selling this service as something to sell. And this includes everything, their air and ocean freight, but also their last mile deliveries, which, as we know, is using blue highways and using cargo bikes. So you're going to see more and more of these Amazon cargo bikes, but they're going to be from the logistics portion versus Amazon goods being delivered to neighbors. In fact, as you can see here, I'm sorry, it might be on the next one. Places like Procter & Gamble are already using those services. The big corporations have been buying those services from Amazon and will be delivered under trucks and things with the Amazon. Yeah, 3M and Procter & Gamble. So expect to see more cargo bikes.
I love when they say our profits, we've lost money. No, instead of making $100 trillion, then this next, they made $999 billion, but our profits, like, it's like, the way they say it, it's, they haven't lost money, they just made a fraction less profit. But it's just more of a monopoly, but anyway.
Well, yeah, and keep in mind that, they're going to be more.
Has nothing to do about that.
There is a bill that just passed at the city level, and this is for bike parking stations, which kind of dovetails. It'll be 400 stations annually, commercial corridors. If you go to the next one, there's also a change in a DOT program. And this may also come to us at some point as well, so I want you to be aware of it. Next. Yes, the DOT has a secure bike parking program, and they're starting to get public comment about the locating these. Next, and this is for storage of e-bikes, cargo bikes, kind of a whole mess, because there are a lot of people who just have nowhere to put them, or they're too heavy to carry up to the apartment stairs for walk-ups. Next. Oh, like my building where there are way too many bikes in the bike room, they've done all. But this again would be through membership program options. So keep in mind, this is not necessarily free parking. Next. And yes, there are 4 different options, and you can see them on the DOT website. You don't have to worry about them today, but to realize what they are, they're not all the same thing. Next. Some of the smaller ones. To give you a sense of scale for the smaller ones, they actually multiple bikes fit in. The sense of scale, they do fit in the bike parking lane. They do fit in the parking lane. So they would simply replace the car, and I think some of them can actually be turned. Next. They could be anywhere, but there's also bigger options that can be looked at and may appear, we don't know. And category 4 is a different sort. And these better not be on the sidewalk. We'll be facing this one again, just like we do with City Bike. So take that to them and say, this on the sidewalk and backing them out onto the sidewalk to be ridden to the corner is not a good idea. Anyway, just so you know, this is coming. Next. And yeah, our highway, this, just you can see the first highway, you can see how shortly this kind of configuration lasts. But you can see Manhattan off in the distance, the city off in the distance. It's pretty amazing. This was like in my grandfather's lifetime. Think how much change they've seen. I talked to my father, I found out that the place where they played, it was in my high school league, was actually where he kept a horse. It was all farmland when he was. So from generation to generation, there are huge changes that we really don't appreciate when we look at the people around us on the subway or anywhere else. We've seen a whole different world.
I read somewhere that because when they first started the street cleaning regulations, they had to do because of cleaning up the horse manure, like,
Oh, I'm sure it did.
like from the turn of the last century. And that's what the horse's fault.
Right, and that was what cobblestone was for too.
I have a question,
But yes,
Yeah.
meeting's adjourned.
the
You can
bill it's been proposed by Crystal Hudson. The 20 is plenty, you know, for e-bikes and for e-mobility devices.
Bye, Kate.
Have you heard anything about like where the